The university itself has many disciplines, and within the CBRNE environment or field that we are working in 2009 we started a postgraduate course, and that has since then developed, and it's developed into 2 master's courses. So we have a first level master course which is for first responders, because it's the first response to any CBRNE event that is absolutely crucial. If we don't get the first response right, then we are going to be in difficulty for the rest of the, well, potentially for the rest of time, depending on what the material is that we're dealing with. And this is a course that is primarily targeting graduates. It has an equivalence of 120 European credit transfer system value, so it's a recognized official course. For people from the military, from government, we bring people in from all over the world who will be students at the university on this course. And again, as I said, it's operative in that sense. We look at not just theoretical, we look at practical exercises. We work with NATO, it's recognized as within the NATO catalogue, in fact. And since 2013, we have a cooperation agreement actually with yourselves, with the OPCW, where we can actually have an exchange system between students and work, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing to actually have. The second level course was something that we saw that was necessary, because intervening at a first response is good, but you need to step back and look at the whole element and the whole holistic approach to CBRN. So we have a second level master's course which is designed for advisors to decision makers. It has an equivalence of 60 European credit transfer system value, which means you can bring these and use them as part of further education should you wish. But here we have a different approach, because on the first responder it is more operative, what we're going to do, how would you respond to an event should it happen. So the personal protection, the risks of going into an environment that could be contaminated and things like that. Whereas the advisors targets a different group of people here. Instead of operational people, we have the advisors who will be key to sending the correct message to those who can make those decisions within a government. So then they're looking at the whole aspect, the whole sphere of this. So we have the prevention, the response, and of course the recovery stage. And they will help advise people within power to actually respond should that ever be necessary. Hopefully it won't be, but it might well be. What is a prestigious university in Rome, because Rome Tor Vergata is a very prestigious university, but to receive an award like this, it's like getting the Oscars in the film industry for us. It's the equivalent of that. It's amazing. I must say it is, in some respects, I would say humbling, I suppose. It puts things in perspective a little bit. Here we are dealing with the Organization of Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. You're dealing daily with the Chemical Weapons Convention, and we have a university that talks and teaches and lectures about the work, the wonderful work of this organization. So for us to be included as part of the story, I suppose, of the OPCW is absolutely wonderful. And I know we will use this not just as an award to say, look, we've got this like a large medal and we won a great race, but we will use it to demonstrate to people, and particularly to the students who want to come to the university. And I think more people will want to come to the university now following this, or at least I hope so. We will use this as a way of promoting, if you like, the fact that we have been recognized, and I think that's the greatest achievement that we can have, that for many, many people who have worked exceedingly hard, we have more than 200 people working on the didactic board for the master's courses there. It is recognition of all the hard work of everybody involved in this. I think that is absolutely wonderful. We feel very strongly that one of the concerns is that it is more likely that a chemist could become a terrorist than a terrorist become a chemist. So education and outreach is absolutely key. It is essential in this world. If we stand any chance of eliminating chemical weapons, we have to talk to people. We have to educate them. We have to look at the young particularly, and that's why we have these master's courses. But we also have to perform outreach in other forms, such as conferences and workshops, to put that message out there and to say, this is the potential consequence of your misuse of your knowledge. So this is an area that perhaps we would actually use some of this money for, to see if we could invest further in the courses and develop them more, but also in further outreach events and possibilities from the university.
The OAU Convention on the Prevention and Combating of Terrorism, forms the bedrock of the direction that the African Union takes so far as terrorism is concerned. Now, after that convention, in 2002, the African Union met again and came up with a plan of action to prevent and combat terrorism. In that plan of action, it was decided to establish a center of excellence for the prevention and combating of terrorism, and that is the African Center for Study and Research on Terrorism, which was established. Out of that decision in 2002, the center was established in 2004. And since 2004, we have been, carrying out various activities to prevent and combat terrorism. Our basic task actually is to help member states of the African Union build their capacity to prevent and combat terrorism. To do this, we have various other implied tasks that we have to, take on, like maintaining a database of all terrorist groups and, their activities, their leaders and all. We also have to print, a journal on terrorism. So we have a network of researchers all over the African continent who write for us on terrorism as to what is happening in their various areas, and we do those publications twice every year. So those are some of the things that we do. And then we cooperate with a lot of partners, including OPCW, to see how to keep the world safe, particularly in the case of OPCW, how to, benefit from the peaceful use of chemistry. This is a prestigious award, and you can imagine it was a complete surprise to us at the African Center for Study and Research on Terrorism. Because yes, we have been doing quite some work on terrorism and cooperating with OPCW. But if you look at the previous award winners, you'll see that these are well-renowned people, of chemistry and toxicology. These are scientists. So we never thought that, we would ever fall into that category, We play our part, but we never thought that, our contribution was going to fall into that category where we would be awarded. In fact, we are very excited and surprised. We are focusing right now on building the capacity of communities. It is our view that terrorist groups are in a battle with nation states to win the hearts and minds of local communities, particularly communities which are deprived. Now, in that battle, we think that nation states have to pay a little more attention to communities and try to win their hearts and minds from the terrorist groups, because that is the center of gravity of the terrorist groups. So our focus right now is to create a certain awareness of communities first and trying to look at the vulnerabilities of communities and then trying to build some resilience in these communities and so win them over to the side of governments. That is our focus now in our capacity building effort. We are also considering very seriously the issue of the threat of chemical terrorism, because the way it is now, with development coming into Africa, with particularly in the area of the chemical industry, there is a need to ensure the safe use of chemical substances and also ensure that they are not misused.